losing $2,139 trading the S&P and the Russell 2000. Let's get into it. This is a bit of a FOMO, I think, situation, but also not. So I'll explain why. It's a bit more details to the story. So if you go back to the last trade recap video, we had this trade on the Russell, which is right here, which we have a 0 P&L because it was a break-even trade. The move was nicely in my direction, and then I moved my stop loss to break even. I think I was up about a little over $1,000 on the trade at that point, and I was targeting like 1,700 or something like that. So it was more than halfway there, and ends up coming back, nipping my stop, and then immediately going back and hitting my target. Nothing you can do. However, the reason why I mentioned that first is because I was thinking about that this morning, as these trades happened yesterday, but I'm recapping this now. I was thinking about this as I was driving this morning. I was like, would you, like, I was like, ask myself, would you have taken these trades or any of these trades had you won on that or had that trade worked? And I'm like, I don't know, man. Maybe I wouldn't have. I was thinking maybe I wouldn't have. Now, obviously, I don't know, right? Go back in time, I have no idea. So here's exactly why. I'll explain, or I'll get into it. By the way, the market's bouncing back nicely. We'll see if that holds up. At the time I filmed the video, for all we know, news is all over the place. Okay, so this is yesterday. Here was the trade on the Russell. So this was the first trade, which if you were to go back in time, you could see the recap on this one, or go back to the last recap. That was that video. I'm going to combine these two here. Here's the next one. So I essentially get my setup, which I got. I mean, okay, here's the thing. I got it. Volume started to perk, like down the bottom. Obviously, we're in the after hours here. This is now at like 6:30 p.m., 6:20 p.m. Like, we're starting to perk, right? I get it. And it it kind of could have worked, I guess. So I end up putting my stop pretty much right here, and the take profit would have not, like, a 2-to-1 risk reward technically could have hit. It's like, this isn't like another one of those trades. Like, could have totally worked. It just nipped my, like, I ended up having my stop loss just north of the breaking candle. So the breaking candle was here. I ended up putting it like right here, and we end up getting stopped out by these little wicks that hit right here, only for the market to go lower and then eventually give us more than a 2-to-1. I mean, if I was to go to a 1.5, it would have gotten more than 1.5. I probably would have targeted about a 1.5. I forget exactly what I was targeting at the time, but it was somewhere in that ballpark. So yeah, this would have actually worked. Looking back, it's just that we came up. So if I mark this off, where we came up to was right here. So if I had my stop loss set north of this line, then it would have worked, right? And so I didn't do that because the breaking candle really was this candle. And so I ended up putting my stop loss like literally like right up here, which then got nipped just about 30, 40 minutes later as we pushed back up, nipped it, and then came back down. So again, what could have worked. Now, the reason why I took the trade was because momentum was obviously to the downside. We were approaching the lows of the day, and then we're getting down into these lows right here. So I was like, we might have tonight could be a flush, just huge flush of momentum to the downside if we break some of these lows with this pressure we're seeing. And so I was taking the trade based off that idea. And then I thought, consolidate right in here, right near this low. We break that low, which we did. I was expecting a flush, and it just so happened that we didn't get the flush. It kind of bounced back and then got a little bit of a flush later on. So idea is kind of there, just like the direction and the way that this is panning out, like the exact step-by-step process just is not aligning or not working super clean. We're not getting the flush and the follow through right away that I was looking for, which has kind of been the bitch that this has been. It's been kind of like eating away at me. It's like, oh man, like we're going down, but it's like my strategy just not working. So that was a trade we lost $800 on. Not a big deal. I did not have a trade copier on these. Again, the only way for me to do a trade copier would be if I am sitting at my desk and I have my iPad, which I'm logged into one of my accounts on my iPad. And then there's only have one account on here. And then I'd have to be able to, like, on my phone, enter like around the same time. And on day trades like that, it's not going to do, like, it's just not going to happen. And I wasn't going to do that. So I only had one account, which was the bigger account. So I'm only going to trade the bigger account until the trade copier works. I'm only going to trade the bigger accounts unless it's a swing trade where I can kind of have time to get in everything at the same, get in, or, you know, on the accounts at the same time. Then the other trade was on the S&P. We lost about 1,300, just shy of 1,300 on this one. So this is another one where it's like, okay, we go Russell, and then I go, okay, this one did need to be taken. However, the setup was there, so it's not like this was terrible. Here's what I'm seeing. I see this right here. Yesterday afternoon, I see this low, and I see, you know, we kind of had this. This is like the Russell breaking down, but this is the S&P now. So I see, okay, we're getting in right here. I'm like, okay, here we go. So I enter this. So we got consolidation. Well, you can say we're breaking this level. Okay, we're breaking this level. We're putting in, you know, pressure, lower highs into that level. Clearly an area that we bounced multiple times. We finally break that. So we're getting the breakdown we were looking for, right? And then we kind of just bounce back up. Didn't get stopped out. At this point in time, my stop loss is up here. Okay, so my stop loss is above breaking, not above breaking candle, but in this case, there really wasn't a breaking candle that was like clean to use a stop. So I put my stop loss on this candle because this candle to me felt like that was the breakdown of the structure of the situation we had going on. So I went stop loss here, entry here, just on below the break, and I was targeting a move down into below this range actually, because this is the lows. I was actually targeting a move beyond that. So, or let me see, go back in time here. No, move my stop to the proper spot here. That's where my stop was. No, yeah, not even that. I was actually targeting a move down to this wick. I was like, that doesn't make sense. It was this wick right here. So not even a low, not even a new low. I was targeting to move down to that wick, which we didn't end up getting, obviously, as you can see. Kind of had this little and then no. So we didn't get no follow through. So the problem, or the thought process behind these two, is like, yes, we didn't lose a lot of money. These are kind of smaller trades. Again, they might sound like they're bigger trades compared to what I was trading, you know, a month or 2-3 months ago. Yes, it is. But the max loss I will take on these accounts, on these $200,000 accounts, is about $2,000. So I wouldn't lose more than $2,000. These are day trades, so I played them with smaller risk. So they're not as big of a deal. However, didn't necessarily need to lose all this money. And as I look back on this trade, I go, you know what, dude, to be honest, if the follow through pulled, if we got the follow through, I would be looking at this like, yeah, it was a good trade. We didn't get the follow through. So that's all I can say, you know. It's not like we didn't have the looks. This one, as I'm looking at it now, you can make, it's a bit more questionable because, like, yeah, the consolidation you could say was kind of right here, but like that wasn't super clean. What? And as I'm looking at it now, it's like this one was probably more FOMO than I thought, to be honest, because like I was saying like last year and looking at this stuff, like, dude, if it's not clean, if I have any hesitations, like there's no point. And I think that is kind of playing into like, we're going down, we're dropping to lows, and I haven't been taking advantage of it as much as I thought I'd be able to take advantage of it. And I feel like I'm having FOMO and I'm missing out. I feel as if I should be able to take advantage of it, but I'm not. And so I think that played a role into it. Again, the question becomes, go back the Russell trade right here that we had earlier in the day that was a break even. As it bounced back up, I hit our stop loss here. As I moved my stop loss to break even, go back to that trade. If it was better executed and I entered it a little bit earlier, maybe it wouldn't have been a break even, or it wouldn't have been, because my stop loss if I moved my stop loss up to or down to break even, that would have been around this ballpark, which this wick would have never hit, which then we would have hit the target here and I would have won. If that occurs, do we take the trades that we took afterwards? Do we take those trades? I don't know. I think there's a chance that I wouldn't have. There's a decent chance, because I'd say, okay, you know what? We capitalized a little bit on this downside move. Whatever happens tonight, let's just go to bed, call it a day, whatever. Not that it was like 2 a.m., it was 6 p.m., not the end of the world. But I was like, we got momentum to the downside continuing. We're getting very, very close to the lows that were put in a few days ago. We break those lows. We have a huge flush. This could be a huge trade. Not thinking that this is going to be a bigger trade than anything else. Just thinking that we have momentum. It's more like this could be momentum. Like, here we go. And that's what I'm looking for. I want momentum. And it just so happened that we didn't really get it. And it ends up being that this was a higher low in the grand scheme after now that the S&P or NASDAQ, everything is just ripping up as Trump paused tariffs for 90 days. So, I mean, dude, honestly, like, things are out of control. It's crazy. Yeah, I think a little bit of FOMO. I think that's really what it is. Just a little bit of FOMO playing into it and saying, you know, I feel like I should be taking advantage of this. And then I'm not. And then I'm like, oh, man, what am I doing? And then it's like, does this, you know, trades, they weren't terrible looks. They were good breakdown setups. It's just that, you know, didn't necessarily, I mean, who knows? Maybe I wouldn't have taken those if I had one in the first one. This just kind of shows you, right? So it just shows you how the brain works and see how you can spiral. Not that it was a bad spiral, but how one, situation or decision or mistake, not even a mistake, but like one decision leads to the next, the next, and the next. And so catching that is good. In the past, maybe I wouldn't have been good at catching that type of stuff. But just making sure like the more you're aware of it, the better, so that you can like, okay, wait up. In the grand scheme, not the end of the world. It's okay. Fine. Whatever. Yeah. Our win rate's ass this month. It's early. We'll see what happens. A lot of opportunities. Just like I've been saying, I just am hesitant to just like push pedal because A, setup situation may not be that great. And then B, volatility is high. So it's like, okay, how what I mean? You really want to play this game? Like, do we need to play the game? So that's a recap. I'll leave a link below to TradeZella where I track everything. Like always, save 10% with code TC10, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.